I'm your daddy.
I can be smart when it's important.
I'm your daddy. I'm
sorry to this
I'm your daddy.
Welcome to Daddy Dailies, a podcast hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. On a film set, dailies are sent out after a shoot day so you can see the work in progress. Daddy Dailies are conversations that go behind the scenes so you can see what work went into the process and be better armed to succeed in the industry. Daddy Dailies, hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films.
Welcome back to Daddy Dailies. I'm Courtney Bell.
I'm Vika Stubblebine.
And we are two of the founders of Not Your Daddy's Films.
And your hosts of Daddy Dailies. Today we are with Nora Garrett. I first met Nora when we were working together at an Italian restaurant called Dominic's. If you're an Angelino, then you probably know Little Dom's on Hillhurst, which is a staple in LA, and Dominic's was the sister restaurant. It no longer exists, RIP.
RIP.
But I met amazing people there who are still my friends today. And after working at this wonderful restaurant, Nora had a career as an actor, worked for high-profile actor-producer Rosamund Pike, director Seth Gordon, and most recently wrote and executive produced the upcoming film After the Hunt, directed by the one and only Luca Guadagnino. Am I saying his name right?
Guadagnino.
Yeah. Which will be in theaters on October 10th, 2025.
It's so crazy.
It's so crazy. And then, like, after that, you now just finished working on a Hulu series starring Kate Winslet called The Spot.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it crazy to hear your resume?
It's really nuts. It's so nuts.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay. So can you take us back to before all this craziness happened to you, where the magic began, your first IMDb credit is as an actor.
Yeah.
Was that always what you wanted to do? Like, is that where the dream started? Was writing in the background or not even part of the picture?
Yeah. I mean, I think that acting was definitely the kind of primary color, I guess, so to speak. You know, like I started out as a dancer, but I knew that like my strength was mostly in performing, not in dancing.
Performance over technique.
Yeah, exactly. Shockingly.
No, I was the same. But
I can't dance.
Yeah.
At all.
No, I like.
I don't try.
I feel like I always excelled in like the jazz or like the where the modern anything that was not like technical ballet. They were like, go over there. But I mean it's totally like my first love, but it's like anytime I watch a ballet, I'll burst out into tears. But I knew early on, I was like, I don't think that I have just the body, like to do it. Not in terms of like any type of weight, but just in terms of like joints.
And your toes.
And my toes and turnout. So I pivoted in high school to study acting. And then that was kind of the thing all through college. And I come from a family of writers, like my mom is a writer, my grandfather self-published books, my grandmother published books.
Is your mom, did she publish books or screen?
No, everyone's a novelist.
Okay.
Everyone's,
wow.
Yeah. And my cousin worked for the New Yorker, and my other cousin has like multiple books. Wow. Yeah. So it's like the family trade in a lot of ways.
I did not know this about you, and mine is the same. Like,
really?
Everyone in my family is a journalist.
Yeah. And I guess I was just always like, okay, well, I am going to be a performer. But I think writing was just the most natural mode of expression for me, and it always felt like kind of like a private thing. And I was sort of hesitant to try and make it into something that I earned any money off of based on my experience with acting, just because I feel like as soon as I graduated and I just had really unrealistic expectations about like what my life was going to look like as an actor pretty immediately after graduation.
Series regular, here you go.
Exactly. I was like, oh my God, a star?
By 23.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, she's just graduated. She's the only one. And so writing was always this thing that felt like something that I did as sort of a primary mode of expression, but like I was mainly writing short stories, and I got a couple of those published, but I still was just like, this is something that I do off stage, and I didn't want to sort of ruin what I felt was like the preciousness of it by trying to be like, this is my career now.
To make money at something that is just like an outlet for you.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't until I was working for my last boss, Seth, my last like assistant boss, and that I kind of got into screenwriting. So it was totally experimental. I was basically just kind of like figuring out how to write as he was figuring out how to write for the screen.
Right.
And it just turned out to be something that I really loved. And after he and I parted ways, I just decided that I should write my own screenplay. But I wrote After the Hunt because I took a class. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you really stick to the structure? Like, was it the type of class where it's like every week you turn in a certain amount of pages?
Yes.
And like, did you feel like you really got yourself to stick to that schedule? Because I know a lot of people do it and then kind of fall off because the time pressure is really challenging. How quickly have you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think it's so. It really worked for me. Like, it's this guy Tim Neenan. I was in like an all-female writers group, and one of the women in it recommended him to us as a group. And I think what really, really helped me about his class was that he is sort of like, this is a 5-act structure. Every week you're going to turn in something. Like, we start with a 1-pager, basically, or you start with. Not even that. You start with a log line, then you go to a 1-pager, then you go to then you're gonna write your first act, second act, third act, fourth, fifth.
Oh, wow.
Like in a week.
Do you do an outline first?
Sorry, I omitted that. But yeah, you do an outline first, and then but it's like
I'm asking for me.
Yeah.
I'm signing up to you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I put an outline. But no, I think I was so resistant to outlines for so long because I felt like. I think I was just like egotistical. I felt like in college I was like, I never outlined my essays. But it's like screenplays are such a different form.
It's a map too.
It's a map, yeah. And I also realized that like what really works for me is incremental reward. Like I realized that like that was why short stories worked for me as opposed to like a long form novelistic. Like I need 3 acts is too much for me to bite off. I need small incremental chunks that I feel like, okay, I outlined my first act today and then I can feel good about myself as opposed to being like and then I'm like, okay, well then I have the second. It's much easier for me to sort of understand the goal as opposed to being like I'm just lost at sea in the middle of all of this.
Right, and you're like, I'm supposed to end up with 100-something pages, and here I am on page 25, and I'm lost.
Exactly. So that was really instrumental for me. And the other thing that was huge about that class was just like not being precious about it. And I think that was where I got lost a lot of the time, was this notion of like overthinking, trying to make sure that everything was perfect, letting like great be the enemy of good. And so much of it was just like, okay, I literally don't have time. Yeah. Like I'm working a full-time job. I'm doing this like the night before. Yeah. I'm like, flying by the seat of my pants because it's a class. And and just realizing that like it's not necessarily how laborious the work feels that's going to make it good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the job thing.
Oh my God.
Because that is such an interesting thing. I find that we even all feel of like how I look at so many people and I wonder, how did you have the time to do what you did, of having a full-time job, then you somehow go home, write an entire script. Sometimes I think, okay, well, if I'm going to write an entire script, it's going to take me 1.5 years. And if it's not good, I might as well throw it away. Are you still auditioning while you're doing all of this? Because that's another layer. And then you still have to have friends.
You're stressing me out, man.
But it's like,
you do not have to have friends, by the way.
Alex says you don't need it. But the thing is, it's like, it's actually not that stressful. But I think the reason why people...
I think it is stressful.
No, well, but here's the thing. It's that stressful, but I think it's that stressful when we think about it that way.
Yeah.
But when you actually just think about it, like, this is just the life I'm living. I go to work, and I'm also having fun writing. And when I don't want to write, I want to hang out with friends. I go with friends. But bless Vika and I were very type A, so we don't think like that.
I know.
So I'm like, how did it work for
like,
you
what
doing all of that?
are you talking about?
Yeah,
me?
I know. I'm like, Vika's
we're
like
not
up at
structured.
6 a.m. working out, and I'm like, that's right, babe. We're both adults. No, so I'm also very type A, and I always had this like fantasy that I was going to be the type of writer who woke up at 5 a.m. and like the birds were singing, and I had my coffee, and I was like, doing my morning pages and meditating and then writing a pilot. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was going to be,
and then it would feel easy and lovely.
Yeah, exactly. And
before
I would be like,
you went to work too.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, like I read this book, I think by Lily King is her name, called Artists and Writers, where like at the end of the book, the writer finally decides to wake up at 5 a.m. before she goes to her teaching job to write her novel. And I was like, no. I was like, I reject this ending. But no, I mean, I had to really, again, it was this thing where like, I had to really examine my idea of what being a writer looked like, and also like the perfectionism inherent in that.
Yeah.
Because what I realized is the same thing about like the 5-act structure. I need just really incremental small goals so that I can keep going. Like otherwise, if you fall short immediately, it's like setting a New Year's resolution of being like, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week and then I'm gonna look like Gigi Hadid. It's just not gonna happen.
You heard it here first.
You heard it, stop it. But no, I mean, I think that, so I had a friend of mine who was like, look, he's also a writer, and he was like, sometimes you just need to put the bar low enough that you can get over it.
Wow.
I know. And I was like, okay, that feels antithetical to how I exist, but I'll try.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And so I once said this to an ex-boyfriend, and he laughed in my face. I was like, I try to write for at least 10 minutes a day. And he laughed at me. And I was like, 10 minutes is a lot of minutes.
Yeah. It's a lot of minutes. It's a lot of minutes.
I love that. Sorry, keep going.
But it's just like when I, and usually you sit down and you're like writing for an hour. But sometimes you sit down and you're staring at a page for 10 minutes, but you still made your goal.
Yeah.
And what I realized is I just need to, like, if I don't make the goals that I set for myself, I just get too demoralized to keep going. So you just need to make the goal.
There's a really good book that keeps coming to mind, and I've been like trying to remember the title of it, but it's about habits, and it is exactly that. It is, I'll put it in the show notes, but like, when I'm not on the mic and suddenly it comes to me. But it's about that. Like there's a study in the book. The author is talking about a guy who wanted to go to the gym, wanted to get in better shape. And he told him, this week, all I want you to do is drive to the gym. You don't even have to go inside. And it's like making it part, like creating that neural pathway in your brain.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I went. Yes. I did it.
Yes.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I personally, I love a list. I love to cross things off a list.
I love a list.
It is the most satisfying thing to me in the world. And making those small goals means that I get to cross something off every day.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Rather than like, okay, in a month, maybe I'll make a little check mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So agree.
Yeah, but I think that like I was working... Just to actually answer your question, I think I was working, when I first wrote After the Hunt, I was working a counter service job at Pine and Crane in downtown. And that was one of those things where like, it was a really demanding physical job, and going back to waitressing at the age of like 32 feels very different than being a waitress at like 24.
Oh, yes,
Which is when Nora and I met, and we're
Exactly.
I mean, I'm 2 years older than you, but I was like, I can be on my feet running around for 6 hours
in
every
like
day.
Vans. And then this time around, I was like, no, Dansko clogs. I need supportive souls. Yeah. I think the most important thing for me was that I personally just needed to leave assisting, because I was not doing a lot of writing when I was assisting unless it was like part of the job.
Right.
But that was a really scary thing, because I had been in the assistant engine for like 10 years. And so I just I was like, I don't have any other marketable skills. Like this is the only job I can get besides restaurant work.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of courage to make a choice to leave something that you know that you're comfortable in and that you're familiar with. I think that's a big thing
and
that
you're
people
good
feel
at
all the time.
You know, you get daily validation like, I'm good at this.
I'm actually grateful for that, because I think if I had gotten to a point where I was actually earning a livable wage, it would have been much harder to leave.
So much harder. You were working as an assistant, you were writing on the occasion, but not really. You decided to leave, go to this other job. That's when you decided, okay, I want to write a script, but I'm going to take a class. Were you also still acting?
Yeah, so acting was something that like when I first started assisting, it was very much still a part of my, it was my main goal. But then I started assisting people who had like gotten the thing, and I realized that it wasn't sort of the massive life-changing boon that I thought it was going to be. Like it's kind of a, wherever you go, there you are kind of thing.
And if you look around and you're like, I thought I wanted this, but I look at this life and it's actually not what I want, that's also a gift in its own right.
Yeah, it took me a while to come to it though, because I had made acting so much a part of my identity. You know, like I felt like an actor, and I still love performing, and I am shooting a short this weekend. Like yeah, it's great, and it's it's one of those things where like the pressure has just changed immensely because I'm like, I have other jobs, which is so nice. It's so nice. And that's such a hard thing to manufacture. Because in acting school, I understood kind of how difficult it was to break into the industry.
Is that what you studied in college?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what school did you go to?
Tisch. I went to Adler at NYU Tisch.
Stella Adler is like one of the formative acting teachers. You can read her book. It's a very specific method for those who are listening who are like, Adler, what?
Yeah. Marlon Brando, I think, and Mark Ruffalo are like two of the most famous alumni. Just was like the same way the type A. I was like, I'm going to do everything right. If I can't, I'm not going to be the person who looks back and is like, I did not try everything.
Right.
But it just wasn't working for me, like it was just sort of, it was like anytime I kind of got traction, there would be a closed door kind of immediately, which at the time was incredibly frustrating. And now I look back on it and I'm like, what a wonderful journey, but it's like, it's hard in the moment. But no, I wasn't, I was auditioning. I had like the very classic thing of like got an agent, got a manager, and then lost both within like a very short period of time.
As an actor?
As an actor, yeah, and both in like really sort of unceremonious ways. Like one time I checked my email and I had been told by Actors Access that my agent had taken me off. Yes.
That could be.
That is so rude.
I know, isn't that insane? I like look, and I was at I was at Seth's house when I got the notification. I was like, okay.
Well, it's all of it can be.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It can all be so dehumanizing.
Yeah.
But then it's so weird because we're supposed to be making art that inspires us, and you can only make that if you feel, I don't want to say good about yourself, but you have to feel like you're in a place of creativity. And it's really hard to be in a place of creativity when you're in a place of, it's not like we're suffering. Like we can eat, we can afford things.
But it's
you
not
just don't
this hierarchy of needs.
Yeah,
It's
like I feel horrible.
Yeah, and some of that, I mean, like, so I kind of want to amend what I said. I was writing when I was assisting, but I was mainly writing like prose, and I took like a course I took like an ad hoc UCLA pilot course that I did write a pilot from. So I was like, there was sort of this other thing happening. I just wasn't, actively sort of looking at it. I was more like, okay, I understand that this is something I can do, and I want to, and I love doing it, so I want to have that, but I'm not like going full bore in that direction.
When did it shift for you? Like, you wrote After the Hunt in this class, which now I want to take this class because it sounds...
I'm like such a Tim Neenan. I'm like, I drop his name everywhere.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, guy,
Okay,
love
Tim,
you.
hey.
Yeah.
Tim, let us in.
Exactly. He does payment plans. I love him.
Wow, Tim.
I mean, the structure, because we were talking about all being type A, and I think being type A, but also a creative person, you have to find the systems that work for you.
Yes.
You have to be like, okay, and also what you were saying about doing something that is creative and yet not that something you're making your money at, and trying to preserve that as like, I enjoy this thing. I don't want to put all this pressure on it.
Yeah, totally.
But you came from a theater background. I'm sure you read a ton of plays. Then you were working for Seth, who's a director and was writing, and so reading a ton of scripts.
Yes.
And so was there a point with finishing this class, you have this script, and were you like, okay, I'm done now? Or were you like, maybe I should try to get an agent? Like, should I try to sell this? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I will say just on that topic, like reading so many scripts and having to do so much coverage, I did not realize like what an amazing sort of experience of osmosis that was.
Yes.
Because like I came to film and TV quite late. Like I hadn't seen The Godfather in college, much to the chagrin of my like film bro boyfriend. He was very upset.
I didn't watch The Godfather till the pandemic, and I was like, guess I'm going through the AFI 100 list.
You know what's also a really important movie? Mean Girls. And if they haven't seen it it, don't talk to
I
me.
know, that's how I feel. I'm like
honestly,
Legally Blonde, a seminal classic.
Yeah.
10
My
Things I
dad-
Hate About You would die for.
Perfect
film.
My dad and I did a trade-off when I was a teen. He was like,
That's so cute.
if you make me watch Mean Girls, then you have to watch The Godfather. And he thought it was a joke, and then after he was like, that was actually a really good movie.
That's a perfect film, and
so
it's like we
good.
can, let's keep going in that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely had that experience, and I just want to credit. I worked for Natasha Lyonne for a very brief period of time while she was in LA before going to New York, and she was the first person who like sat me down and was like, look, I won't do her voice because I will bastardize it. But she was like, look,
She's a very
you can't.
cool friggin' voice.
She's a really cool friggin' voice. But she was like, I love that you know plays. I love that you know books. I don't care. She was like, you've got to, and she was like, not in a sense of like me personally. She was just like, you've got to, as a woman in this industry, you've got to know film, because otherwise you're going to walk into meetings and people are going to not take you seriously, or they're going to just sort of like treat you as someone who they maybe, I don't know, want to sort of sexualize or want to kind of like treat as an object. And she was like, but if you come in there and you quote Minnie and Moskovitz, like you will have a credibility that otherwise they would not have ascribed to you. So she sent me, she sent me a list. She was like, it was like a film school. It was like Lyon Film School. She sent me a list and she was like, you just need to work your way through these movies, because if you don't have that backlog, like it's, and I think that I was sort of occupying this like pretentious feeling of like, I know the art of theater and I know the art of novels, and I was like, but it really is like, that was a huge turning point for me as well, of realizing that like a filmic language was so important.
Yes.
I think especially as women, like there is something that happens when you walk into a room, as anyone who has ever been othered, I should amend that, it's not just women, but I think where people are going to have an inherent bias, they're going to assume something about you. To be human is to judge. It is like you have an opinion based on everything that happens. It's not always bad, but often it can be harmful. And I heard a director once say that when you're coming in to guest direct like a television episode or something, you have 20 minutes to earn the crew's respect.
Yeah.
And I think it's similar to going into meetings, or it's similar to meeting a new person in a work setting. It's like, you basic as fuck, but you want to put your best foot forward, and you want to be someone that people want to work with, but you also want to be someone that they can take seriously. Doesn't mean you have to be the most serious, you can't make jokes, you can't be yourself, but it does mean that sometimes you got to lead with like, like no bullshit, I know exactly what you're talking about. We have the same language, and I'm going to show that to you so that you cannot make an assumption about me that I can't do XYZ.
Exactly. It really is. It's really the shared language of it all. Like, if people have that vernacular and are trying to sort of communicate with you in that way, and you can't play ball, it does just make it like, it's already difficult. It just makes it that much harder.
Yeah. So you have After the Hunt.
Right. Oh, sorry. Your question.
No, it's fine.
That was chit chat.
Yeah,
you're really good
that
job.
was so great.
Yes, I had it. So I wrote the first draft after the class, and then I was house sitting over the summer. I was working for Kim Raver, who is an actress on Grey's Anatomy, and I was working for her when she directed her first episode. And then I
cool.
Yeah, then had this counter service job and was house sitting for her, and I got like, it was August of last year, I think. God, that's crazy. But I got sick, so I called out of the counter service job, and during those 3 days, I wrote the second draft of After the Hunt.
August of 2023?
Yeah, I know.
Or 2024.
I think 2024. I'm honestly like, time is a flat
6
circle.
months ago, you were writing.
Oh wait, no, sorry, August of 2023. Thank God.
that's
Okay, because I
still
was like, I was going crazy.
But like August of 2023,
I know.
a year and a half ago, you were still writing the second draft.
I know, it's
That
crazy.
is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
So inspirational.
Well,
wow.
like the producer, Alan Mandelbaum, who's amazing on After the Hunt, he was like, Nora, never get used to this. Film never moves this fast. Yeah, he was like, this is an anomaly. Never expect this again. He would say that to me over and over and over again.
That's how good it was.
And I was like, I don't know. But it was definitely one of those things where I wrote the second draft, and then I was just following Tim's advice. Yeah. But he was like, have a reading after you do the second draft.
That's
so
fun.
I was living in a tiny, tiny studio apartment at the time, so my friend lent me her apartment. So I had people over, and we did a reading of it, and it was enormously helpful. And then I sent it to like a few trusted people for notes after that. And then that was like September, October. And then in late October, I went to New York I was working for Meta at this time. So I'd quit my counter service job, I had been recruited by Meta in a data analysis role on LinkedIn.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still remember it because it was like the day before my birthday that I got the news that I was gonna get the job, and I was so broke and so exhausted.
You were like, oh my God,
that,
thank you,
exactly.
you.
And she was like, I've never heard anyone be so excited about getting this job.
It's called desperation.
Exactly. She was like, you realize you're making like minimum wage? And I was like, I need it.
I've been there.
Wage. Yeah, I was like, thank God, like send me that weird corporate laptop.
I feel that in my core.
Yeah, I was just like, I remember it so deeply. I was just like, oh my God.
If you're an artist, you have been here.
Yeah. I was like, I have benefits. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get my teeth cleaned professionally. Yeah. It was like wild. Yeah, exactly, professionally as opposed to like.
Like imagine the back alley.
But you're still going every 6 months.
Every 6 months, those gums, they recede otherwise.
They never go back.
But yeah, so I was like, my grandmother needed help. She had knee surgery, and I was like, well, I can work remotely. I'll go to New York.
Which is where you're from, where you
Yes,
grew up.
yes. And the draft of After the Hunt pretty much remained kind of unchanged from like the third round of notes that I did after that reading. And I truly, like, from the bottom of my heart, the only thing I thought was like, this is going to be a great sample. I didn't even think great. I think I just was like, this is going to be a sample.
Yeah.
Because it's the exact opposite of everything that anybody was telling me to write. Like, I think I tried to send it to a friend of a friend who is a producer, and she was like, yeah, we're just not reading psychological dramas right now. And I was like,
love that. Ignore everyone.
yeah, seriously. That was the thing I learned the most, is I was like, I tried so hard, especially as an actor, to tailor myself to what other people wanted. And this was something where I wrote it and I was like, I don't know if this is ever going to see the light of day. I'm just writing something that I like. I didn't write After the Hunt with any idea of it becoming what it became. And people would ask me, they were like, did you have actors in mind when you wrote this? And it was like, no. No, like that would have been a psychotic thought for me at the time, you know?
Because you didn't even have an agent at the time.
No, I had no agent, no manager, nothing. So I truly thought, I was like, this is a movie that consists of scenes of people sitting in rooms talking to each other. That's the entirety, and like some vomit. Like that was the entirety of the movie. And so I was like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
It's also about professors. There's like a lot of $5 words in here. It's not gonna go anywhere. And so I asked a friend of mine who had read the second draft. I was like, look, do you just have someone you know who might wanna manage me? All I wanna do is just like have a sample, hopefully get representation, hopefully get in like a writer's room, you know? That was like my 3-step plan. And then he, you know, and I don't even remember why I asked him. Like, it's one of those things where looking back on it now, because I keep trying to discover my motivation, because I have been in the history of my life quite shy about asking people for things, you know, especially like on a professional way. I don't know why I did, but I just decided to. And then he introduced me to Sydney Blank, who became my manager. And yeah, she read it, and she was like in my head, I'm always like, she was the Bradley Cooper to my Lady Gaga, you know, in the sense that you just like only need one.
She was like, I just wanted to get another look at you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's right, Sydney. But yeah, she basically read it. And I had also had a pilot from that UCLA thing that I took, and it was like, looking back on that now, I'm like, let's bury that. I want that to never see the light of day. But she basically was like, yeah, the pilot's fine, but I think we can make this into a movie. And I was like, okay, well.
So she gave you notes then too?
She gave me really minimal notes. Okay. And so I went back that night and did the notes and turned it into her the next day. And she was like, great, this works. Let's she was like, as soon as the industry opened back up in January, let's go out with this. And I was like, okay, like, cool. Oh, captain, my captain, like, take it, you know? Yeah. And so, and she signed me in that meeting, which I was like so thrilled about. Yes. And I got off the meeting and my grandmother was there. And by the way, I'm like my meta computer was behind the computer where I was Zooming with Sydney, and I was just like checking my messages to see if anybody was like,
Nora, we need you.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like every so often tapping it and being like, okay, I'm fine. And then
wow.
at the end of the meeting, my grandmother came in and she was like, now what was that? And then I was like, I have a manager, and it was a really sweet moment.
Oh, that's
it was
so
a
great.
Really sweet moment.
Because I know if I'm listening to this, I'm like, tell us what the movie's about.
Sure.
So the official log line.
Oh my God.
Do you want to hear it? Do you know what it is? Do you want to write it?
Do you want to hear it? Why do I hate log lines? But yeah, I guess I want to hear it.
Okay, this is one I found on the interwebs. After the Hunt is about a college professor who is forced to grapple with her own secretive past after one of her colleagues is faced with a serious accusation.
That feels right.
Okay. And those two people are played by Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield.
That's true.
That is insane. Assuming Sydney then took the script out.
Yeah, Sydney's one of those people where I was like, I have no idea how I got so lucky. Like, it makes me emotional to think about it. But I seriously, my friend Julian Silver, who's also a writer, introduced me to her, and he was also very considered and specific, which is something where I'm like, if I'm ever in the position where someone asks me, I feel like that's a good tactic to take. Because he basically was like, I think you need like a smart, hungry female representative. And Sydney was like 100% that. And she had a very targeted list of producers that she wanted to send it to. I think it was like 30 something, maybe upwards of 30 something. And January 3rd, immediately sent it out to like a couple of people.
Love that.
And I think that's so much part of it, right? Like, it's so much a part of, she understood the people who were going to respond to this, and she had relationships with those people, and I was really lucky to be a part of that conception. And so she sent it to a couple of people. We had like a good amount of bites, and I started having meetings, and then I met with Alan Mandelbaum at Imagine, and Joyce Choi and Karen Lundgren, who has since left Imagine. But it was one of those meetings where I was like, as an actor, I had always been brought into the offices, or like the vestibules. And this meeting, I was like, I seriously once had a meeting at CAA, like opposite their canteen. And I was like, okay, this feels good. But
now you're in an actual office?
Yeah, no, this was a conference room. And I was like, wait, this is very different. Yeah, exactly.
I remember what I was going to say.
Oh my God, go.
It's a compliment to you.
Oh my God, thank you.
You were saying how much you love your manager just now, obviously, and that you felt you don't know how you got so lucky, but I feel like I do. You literally were just telling us that you the way that I picture it, crying tears of joy, getting a job working at Meta, and having the courage to move to a different field, knowing that you wanted to continue to, it makes me tear up, like you wanted to continue to pursue your art in a different way. You also consciously made the choice to go take care of somebody else while you're still trying to be like, okay, if this thing works out with me with writing, it does. I made a thing that I'm excited about. I don't really have a plan for it. I can keep moving forward. I'm going to take care of somebody else, and I'm going to not do what everybody says. That is, if you can picture yourself doing anything else, leave the industry. No, like the first thing we should be taught is get a real job. The moment you can, get money, get healthcare, be able to not only be in a place where you can take care of yourself, where you can take care of other people, because that's where you are radiating goodness to have good things come back to you. I really believe that.
I really believe that too.
It doesn't surprise me that like you're saying all of these things, and then of course this amazing blessing lands in your lap because you were putting out like what you were just like you were open to that.
Thanks. Yeah, I really agree with you. I think that was something that was said. Like, I think my first day of acting school, one of the teachers came in and said that same thing. It was like, if you can do anything else, you should do it. And I've heard that over and over again. And I hate it because I was like, of course I can do other things. I'm a capable person. Like, I hate that notion because I ascribed to it for so long. I was like, unless I am, like, I always kind of maligned the fact that I was good at assisting because I felt like it was antithetical to the creative experience. I was like, being type A is antithetical to what I believed was like the Rothko Modigliani sort of like torture genius. Like I can't even order a couch or like my own lunch, you know, but I can write a brilliant script.
Please,
Yeah.
If you take, actually, you should take a lot from this podcast, but you should be able to do your laundry and order your own fucking lunch.
I just hate that. I just hate
Quote
the
that.
torture genius like trope.
Yes.
I hate it because that felt so opposite to who I am. And I was like, I'm never going to make it.
Yes. Did you see A Complete Unknown? There is like I can't call it a plot point, but there's a scene in the film where Bob Dylan doesn't know how to make a fucking cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And it's because he's an artist.
I know. And I
was
was like also, this is what, I'm sorry, I don't want to go on a rant, but like I learned something recently that like Thoreau, you know, everyone talks about him being like sort of this great transcendentalist, you know, like big into, when he was living at Walden Pond, his wife and his mother and his sister were doing his laundry and cooking all his meals.
No.
Is he the one who divorced his wife because his wife asked him why he would stare out of windows every day?
I really hope
I don't know, but I love that question. I really imagine her like building up the courage to be like, hey babe,
what's going on?
Are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like,
yeah. And
I'm
he's like,
leaving you.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, good luck.
You've asked me a question.
Yeah, exactly. You've interrupted. Yes, exactly. Like, enjoy poverty. Yeah. But I just was like, somebody, if you look close enough, someone's taking care of that tortured genius.
Yes.
And they're taking care of them without any thanks or without any reciprocation. And I feel like that really does me.
Usually it's a woman.
Almost always.
Yeah.
It is
And
a woman.
why ¿por qué no los dos?
Yeah, ¿por qué no los dos? Yeah. I mean, and I just think that you can have both. You can be an incredibly organized like person who doesn't blow up their life, and you can also be a good creative.
Yeah, I agree with that too. When you went into the first of those meetings, were you so scared, or were you like, this is really cool, I'm excited?
You know, it's really funny. It was so night and day from being an actor, and I think that helped a lot because like being an actor and being a woman, I was so conscious every time I went in a meeting of like trying to look attractive and trying to look like a movie star and trying to sort of look like someone who I felt like I was so conscious of how much I needed the other person to believe something about myself, as opposed to like writing, for better or worse, is something that I've always believed that I'm good at. Like and actually Meta helped a lot with that, which is so weird because it was such a like stultifying job, but it was so much of it was writing. It was summarizing and editing. Oh, interesting. And I realized that I was like, like it was this weird thing clicked where I was like, oh, not everyone can write. Like not everyone, it's not something that is just a ubiquitous talent. And so I kind of realized that I was like, oh, I'm actually, I am good at this. And it has a larger reach than sort of like the specific niche of you know, me aping like an Emma Cline short story. I was walking into that meeting knowing that they already liked the script.
That's so nice.
It's so nice. And I also was like, I don't have to look hot. Like, I still tried, but I was like, I don't have to go in there being like my most charming self. I don't have to go in there trying to like flirt or schmooze. I was just like, this is something where I can just go in
and talk about the work.
Because I wasn't behind the 8 ball. Like, this was the only time that I'd had like a credible thing that felt like something that people didn't treat as something that they could, I don't know, kind of chew up and spit out, you know?
Also, did you have any desire to direct or act in the project going into the meetings?
I definitely do want to direct, but going into the meetings, I was like, I just want to get this made.
Yeah.
I just want to get this made. Like I never wanted to hold up that process. And I do actually have a cameo in the film.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, as a waitress, which like, Luca asked me to do it. And I was like, of course, I'm just going to draw on all my past experience. But no, I was very, and like Sydney, to her credit, because I told her when I met Sydney, I was like, I do want to direct and I do want to act. And the directing came out of nowhere. I said that in the meeting and I was like, oh, I guess I want to do that. But she was very much like, should we talk about getting you a role in this? Should we talk? Like, she was very forward facing. But I was kind of like, I just want to see how this pans out.
Yeah. When did Luca come on board?
Yeah, so this is when it becomes like Hollywood.com. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah.
Because if you guys are not familiar, I've been friends with Nora, and I'm like, Nora's in Deadline, Nora's in Hollywood Reporter, Nora, like, there's like this like bidding war going on for this script. I'm so jazzed for you.
It was crazy. It was like suddenly Nora just doesn't have like bad headshots on Google, which I'm trying so hard to scrub. I know. I'm like, oh my God, no, I had no highlights. When I met with Alan, we had sort of a group of people that were also interested in the script, and Sydney was like, I want Nora to have this, she was like, I want her to have the experience of meeting with a bunch of people and talking about the script. But I knew in my heart, I was like, Alan is the guy, and Imagine is the people.
What about him like made it feel so organic and good?
I mean, he's just a mensch. Like he's an amazing guy, but beyond that, like I just had a feeling. Like oddly, when Sydney first mentioned his name, I had a feeling, and then I went into that meeting, and it just felt like they were asking all the right questions about the movie, and like had done their research, and also had like a very specific tailored list of directors.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I could tell that they had a plan. They were like, we're going to go to directors first because we want to package this, and the directors that they had on their list, I was like, what? Yeah. And Luca was one of those. So Luca was one of those where like when we decided to go with Imagine, they were like, okay, so look over this list and tell us who you think. Which again, insane position. Yeah. Going from being like, if any of these people read my name to being like, I get to decide who we send this to, which by the way, I did not get to decide, but they involved you? They involved me, which I was like, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, Luca was one of those ones where like, I kind of, put him at the very top. And I was like, if this gets to his email at some point, I think I literally was like, yeah, we may as well shoot our shot. Yeah. But I'm like, it was one of those things too, where I was like, I doubt it. And
because Challengers had already come out.
Not yet. It had not come out yet, but it was fully edited, I think, and ready. But basically, so what I didn't realize is that Imagine is repped by CAA. I didn't realize that production companies have representation, which is funny because I've like been in this industry for like so many years.
No, I mean, I don't think I've really thought about that either.
Yeah. So Imagine is with CAA, and Luca's with CAA, and Julia is with CAA, and Julia's agent is married to Luca's agent.
Julia Roberts.
I'm sorry. Yes, Julia Roberts. We wanted to package it carefully and sent it to directors first, and Alan sent it to Luca's agent, but he was like, I don't know, Luca has another project, and so it was sort of touch and go for a second there, and then it was truly one of those things where like he was reading it, John Garvey was reading it in bed one night, and his wife Ida Zanidi was like, what are you reading? And so it just became. And then, so Luca, like Julia actually came on first. And then very quickly, Luca came on after that. Yeah.
Wow. So did you get to meet Julia Roberts before?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. Wow. I met Luca. It was actually, I used to work at the Chateau Marmont, and my first meeting with Luca was at the Chateau. Wow. And it was also full circle, but also like that day was so stressful because I think I'd had like an agency meeting that morning at, I think it was Gersh, and then I did not have a car at this point because I'd given up my car in August because I was, once again, incredibly broke and could not afford car payments and was thinking about moving back to New York.
And then you're going to the fanciest places in Hollywood, and you're like, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I have it together.
Yeah, and I'm also like on my Meta phone trying to make sure that I'm, once again, I'm still working at Meta.
Well, yeah, because of course, you don't know if it's going to,
exactly.
It's not supposed to happen
because nothing
within
is anything
months.
until it's something, and so you can't just be like, buy Meta,
income.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I heard one actor, I think it was like Tom Hardy, was like, it's not real until you take a shit in the trailer, which is crass, but I was like, yeah, that is what it is. Like that's it. And even then,
actually you can get still in.
Yeah, you can still get taken out. Yeah. But so I was like driving, I was Ubering back from Gersh on my Metaphone, and then that like finally get back into my apartment, and I was like, okay, I've got to work for Meta. And then I get a call from Alan being like, hey, Luca wants to meet, can you go to the Chateau today? And I was like, 100%. And I was like, I somehow think it's cheaper to get a rental car than an Uber, so I like went to Enterprise and rented a car and then drove to Chateau.
Oh my God, I'm so stressed out for
I was
you.
so stressed out, like sweating, putting on my mascara in the car.
Yeah.
And then, but it was crazy, you know, like to go to the place where I'd been an employee, like to park in the employee parking, the secret employee parking. And then to like come up and see like all my friends and like my old boss Carmine. And I was like, I'm meeting with Luca. It was like this crazy thing. And
I love that. I'm like, want to cry. Wow.
Yeah, it was truly like, it was so crazy. And also I had so and then we met there and it was this insane moment where I was like, I know this table number.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we're meeting at table 16 and you have your like hotel key that I like tried to steal once, not his, but like just because my friend had the tassel on his keychain and I was like, that's cool. I want that. But yeah, it was just one of those moments where I was like, this is insane.
And did you like were you like, okay, I need to be prepared with like or did you just want to like go and be like, I guess I'll see what he wants to talk about?
Well, the only reason I thought about punting the meeting was because I hadn't seen A Bigger Splash. I had seen all of Luca's films.
Oh, and you didn't want to go in and be like, I haven't seen.
And then of course the one movie he asked me about is A Bigger Splash, and I was like, no. I felt so bad.
I'm gonna watch it.
And I like saw the light leave his eyes, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I had seen all his films. Like he was my first Suspiria, and A Bigger Splash was the only one I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
So that was, but I kind of got the sense that I was like, this is something where I just have to say yes and move fast.
Yeah.
But that was another moment where I was like, Natasha was right. Always watch the movies. Again, like my brain just hadn't settled into this notion of being like, what is my role here? I didn't understand, really.
Right.
I was like...
Well, because so many times writers I haven't sold a feature, but like from my understanding is that like sometimes you write it and you sell it and you're not involved whatsoever.
Exactly. And I think that Luca is a very unique filmmaker, and I was incredibly privileged to be involved with his process because he keeps his writers on set for the entire time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is really rare. Yeah.
So,
Huge.
okay, because this is fascinating. Do you, once he's on board, we fast forward a little.
Yes.
You guys are shooting and you have your insane cast. Were you involved in the casting as well? No.
No.
So when did you first meet everyone?
So we had rehearsals in Julia's house.
Julia.
Like you have to.
I'm so Julia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was Brat Summer. It was Brat Summer. It was San Francisco.
It was Hunt Summer.
Yeah, exactly. It was Hunt Summer. But yeah, so we. Again, like this was just, I had to just pretend really quickly that I was okay and comfortable with all this stuff. But like assisting did help because I had been around
very,
star
like,
power
well-known
for
people.
Exactly. So like, you know, I had like met people. I had sort of gotten over that hump a little bit.
I think there's this thing that happens because I'm also an assistant and I've been around more television stars than movie stars. But to me, if I love someone's work, I love someone's work, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And I finally feel like I've gotten over that where I'm like, oh, well, everyone is just a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, person.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes they don't know that they're just a person. But
Correct. But yeah, it was one of those things where, I mean, the people I get the most starstruck around are people from like my childhood. Like the girl who played Bianca in 10 Things I Hate About You came into the workout class that I taught, that I used to teach when I first moved here. And I literally was like, I can't.
The class is canceled.
Olniak or something?
Yeah.
She has a Slavic last name.
Yeah,
so I feel like I
does.
should know because I'm Slavic.
Yeah.
But
I was like, I can't tell this woman to squat. Like, this is Bianca. Like, I was like, I can't do
Bianca's
that.
actually running the class, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm in love with this woman. I don't know what to do. So, you know, I watched Pretty Woman on a loop with my mother. Like, to the point, I used to ask people how's tricks when I didn't know that meant, like, how's being a prostitute.
And good for you.
So embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. But yeah, so.
did you tell her that?
No, I was too scared. But like, you know, it was one of those things where it's just that my brain at least was just like not having the synaptic experience of being like, this is a tactile experience that's happening to me, as opposed to a sort of thing that is like.
Yeah, maybe that was really helpful because you could just be like, this might be a simulation.
Yeah, exactly.
I could just sit back and watch. It's really cool.
Yeah, and like, so the rehearsal process was basically.
Was it like theater?
Yeah, kind of, but it was like we would take the script and they would read, and then Luca would look at me and be like, "So can you take their notes and edit?" And I was like, now. And he was like, yeah, we'll hang out. So
I love that.
I would sit there and
Did
just
you
write.
feel
scary.
okay
So scary.
about that? Of like, did you go in knowing that your writing would change, or were you somebody who was precious with your dialogue? Did it feel uncomfortable?
I was very much like, Luca actually had a lot of notes prior to us getting to the rehearsal process. And I was very much like, I will do anything to play ball with this man.
Yeah.
Like, he has, in my opinion, never made a bad film. So I was just sort of like, whatever he wants, I'm gonna just prove that I can give him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, okay, maybe if this was like my second film or something, I'd be like, okay, there are certain things I think that are in the DNA that maybe we should not shift. But I really just like threw everything at the wall. I wrote so many shitty scenes. I wrote like, and like, God bless Alan and Luca, because they were very sweet about being like, this does not work. And I was like, no, 100%, for sure.
Wait, I love that.
Yeah.
You're getting through the creative process with people who are like so experienced. That's so cool.
Yes, it was really cool. I was really grateful that I had already had the experience of not being super precious about writing in order to do that rehearsal process.
In general, with the creative process, I think it's really great that you said that you did 1 draft, 2 draft, you did some notes, and then you were willing to share it. Because I feel like when you work with creatives who really want to be creatives, the whole point is to collaborate with people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and for some people I know that like the lines are the lines for a specific reason, and that's fine. But I think also not putting so much pressure on yourself, being like, it has to be perfect, because it's improved even more by having directors, then by having actors, and then being able to read, like, part of your rewrite and editing process was working with other people.
Yeah, and I think that what gave me great comfort is that I was like, I have the final draft saved. We can always go back to what it was. Like, it's not.
That's cool.
And something I will say that was helpful for me, that might be helpful for other people, was I don't know what anybody's relationship to musical theater is, but there's this really great documentary on Max about the company cast recording.
Ooh, I haven't seen this. I thought you were going to talk about every little step for some reason.
No, but this is the company cast recording, and it's funny. There's
Company,
like
Stephen Sondheim.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a beautiful musical and
gorgeous.
There's documentaries
seminal about the cast recording, and it was like it was overnight, and like, you know, everyone's like smoking cigarettes in the corner, but what really helped me was watching Elaine Stritch have a really, really hard time with the ladies who lunch. Like, and she's Broadway's like seminal woman, and she couldn't get it, and she couldn't get it.
And her recording of that is insane.
And and like Sondheim was just like, it's not working, and the director was like, it's just not working, and so they had to record it the next day. Like, she was the only person who didn't get the take that night, and I was like, you know what? If Elaine Stritch has a hard time getting a take of something, like, if I'm having a shitty draft, it's okay. You can get it on the next one. You know? Absolutely. So it was like, that was helpful for me.
That's such good advice. This is our last question, and then we're going to do a quick little game.
Great, love a game.
How did your career and world change after wrapping the film? Because this was like fairly high profile. Sometimes you make something and people don't hear about it until after it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And like, are you excited for the world to see it?
Yeah, I mean, everything's different. Like, my whole life is different, and also everything is the same, you know? But like, yeah, I'm scared, you know? Like, I've never had anything that is going to have this wide of reach. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand that, like, so much of what Luca did with the film was about making it so that it's something that he can really shepherd, and that he can really, like, that it's his, you know? And I get that, because the way this industry works is like, the director's the front line for communicating about film, and then the actors, you know, and then the writer's kind of the like
when it comes to the public.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is like, it makes total sense to me, because that is the person who is like crafting the whole visual narrative. Yeah. I'm more scared for myself, just in terms of like reading reviews and like what my
Are you gonna read them?
I don't know. Everyone tells me they're gonna be really hard to avoid, but like the top note is that I'm like, I'm so lucky. This is insane. This is the fact that it's getting a theatrical release, again, totally Luca's credit, but like, that is crazy in this day and age. And so
all the daddies, we're gonna go to the theater and we're gonna see it.
Lisa Ray, the advice that she gave to SZA was, I can't be bullied by things that I could just close my computer
Yes.
for. And I loved that.
Exactly. And the thing I felt was like, you know what? The thing that's been really wonderful about this experience was I was like, I wrote something that I liked and it had this type of traction. So the best thing I can possibly do is just like my boss on the spot gave me this advice where he was like, there are two, his name's Ed Solomon. He was like, there's two Eds in the world. There's the Ed that does the writing, and there's the Ed that people write about when they write about his writing. And he was like, I don't talk to that guy. Like that guy just exists. I just put my head down and keep moving forward. Yeah, sorry to this man. So sorry. But I was like that, I'm gonna try really hard to just be like, the only thing I can do is
The work.
Yeah.
I love that. So, little game. The hottest hot take filmmaker thing. I can go first if you want.
Yes. Oh my God.
We're asking for your film-related hot take. Do you think that, the Nicole Kidman AMC thing should go away? Do you love it? Is it your favorite part of going to the movies?
Oh my God.
Like, this can be silly. This can be serious. It's all of the things. So, mine. I went to Alamo Drafthouse the other day, and I'm not going to lie. It's not my favorite theater. And I get it. You want to have like a Caesar salad and you want to have your pizza. Fine. The smells don't even bother me. But there is a light under your table that never goes away. So if you're going to have a dining experience, maybe we could turn the lights off. I bring a sweater to cover my table so that I can see the movie.
You're so pure.
I've actually
I love
never
that.
been. I need to
Yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah.
That's my hot take. I'm sorry if you're a big fan. I'm so glad that people are going to the movies, but I hate the lights in there.
My hot take is that I'm like, I don't want to get canceled.
You can't.
Movies can't be longer than 2 hours.
How long is after
anymore.
that?
I know. I'm so sorry.
Girl, it's a little bit longer.
And I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna like it so much
right now.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do the 3 hour 10. I can't do it.
I guess my hot take is the opposite, which is I think that film should be allowed to be whatever length they want to be.
Good for you.
I think honestly, I saw The Brutalist and I was like, this intermission is perfect.
I love that movie.
I love that movie so much. I loved the intermission. I also think that generally it's one of those things where like, I love a 90-minute movie, do not get me wrong. But I think it's one of those things where like, the more prescriptive and the more literal we are about film, the worse it's going to become, I think.
I love
is my
that.
hot take.
And if you like Nora's hot take, you can follow her.
I deleted my Instagram, but it still exists in the ether. I just was like,
you
I
can go
can't.
see After the Hunt, which is in theaters
It is.
October 10th.
I do have an Instagram. It's at Nora Garrett with 2 R's and 3 T's.
Yes.
It used to be Nora Carey because I was obsessed with Jim Carrey. It's a long story. But anyways,
Perfect.
I don't engage with it, but it does exist online.
And you can follow our company and this podcast at Daddy Dailies Pod on Instagram and TikTok and NYD Films. See you next time.
Thanks.
Daddy Dailies is presented by Not Your Daddy's Films, a social impact organization dedicated to educating and empowering women and non-binary creatives in TV and film. If you like what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a positive review. And if you want more Daddy episode insights and links to what we talked about, join us on Patreon/NYD Films. Daddy Dailies is produced in partnership with Robert Bailey and edited by Carly Tamarin, Vika Stubblebine, Claudia Restrepo, and Gracie Strauss. See you next time, Daddy.